Yun! Andyan pa ba kayo? Kamusta na kayo, guys? Ayan, balik na tayo sa sa hotel natin. Nasa military base tayo kanina at constant discussions for the past 40 years, 40 hours or so. Wala na, sabog na tayo. Ano na, kamusta na kayo dyan, mga kameta? How are you? Ayan, joining you guys from Tallinn, Estonia. Just a few hundred miles away from Russia, Novgorod. So kanina guys, nasa tayo sa isang military base tayo. Sa kausap natin yung mga nasa NATO forces, yung mga nandito, at saka yung situation nila pagdating sa preparations nila for potential showdown or warfare with Russia, no? If ever ang Russia po will also move against a NATO member. So very nervous yung mga nandito sa Estonia, but at the same time they're also very well prepared. So nasa military camp tayo, kaya di na tayo nag-message or nag-post or anything like that. So ngayon lang nakabalik tayo dito sa hotel natin. So nag-update tayo. Kausap naman kayo dyan, guys. Kahapon naman nakausap din po natin yung Prime Minister nila dito. Batang-bata yung Prime Minister nila, mga early 40s lang yata or mid 40s. So gladly I had the chance to ask questions dun sa kanilang Prime Minister about also the issue ng China. Nakausap din po na, of course, I cannot, Chatham House rules yan, so I cannot tell anong sagot nila. So, off the record yan. But at least we had some very good discussions. Nakausap din natin yung dati nilang presidente, babae rin, very smart woman, very strong woman, ukol sa issue ng cybersecurity dahil ang Estonia po ay dati in-attack ng Russia, massive cyber attack. So, napakagaling ang Estonia ngayon in terms of dealing with cybersecurity issues. So, may tinatawag na Tallinn Manual on cybersecurity. So, pinag-usapan din namin yan. And then we had a couple of expert panel discussions with experts here from Germany, from Europe, etc. Pero kanina talaga, nasa military camp tayo. Medyo labas dito ng Tallinn. I think we were like 100 miles away. We were removed from the capital. So na-meet mo natin yung mga colonels, yung mga officers, nakita natin yung mga armas na ginagamit ng mga Estonians. You know, we look at some tanks. Then also we talk to the other coalition forces, NATO forces na tumutulong dito sa Estonia. So medyo join talagang solid sila, guys. Solid din sila dito. Hindi lang sila may unity din sila. So those were the things we're checking. So sorry talaga kung if I seem a little bit out of the loop. Not to mention kanina 4 a.m. time dito, may talk tayo kasi dyan sa Manila may Zoom talk pa naman ako. So I barely slept. At least gladly I was able to sleep yesterday. So yan, medyo maglakad-lakad tayo dito. It's beautiful there. Man, I cannot believe this is autumn in Baltic area. Look, so the Baltic Sea is just over there. Kahapon, if may lang time tayo, sana pinakita natin. Ang ganda. This is more like the commercial area. Medyo posh commercial area. Pero kahapon, nandun tayo sa more historic side where they also have this beautiful Orthodox churches. And kaharap po niya yung Prime Minister's office at the Parliament. So, that's where we had the bulk of discussions kahapon. Yeah, but then kanina, 100 nautical miles, we went away. So, yon, kamusta kayo dyan, guys? How is it? Narinig niyo ba ako? Sorry, itong earphones ko. Ito, hindi yata maganda itong earphones ko. Kamusta ng Pilipinas? Kanina, na-check ko na naman yung Twitter. Bago ako umalis dun sa military camp. Mukhang gagawa ng anti-disinformation efforts naman ang ating gobyerno. Wow, very impressive naman. Very, very, very impressive. So, guys, I mean, actually, first time ko dito sa Baltic area. So, Estonia is doon a bit north, and then there's like Latvia and then Lithuania, no? And then Poland sa baba, Belarus, Russia borders, most of them. And then just across the Baltic, you cross here, you'll go to Helsinki in Finland. So, katulad ng alam nyo, ang Finland po at Sweden ay sumasali na rin sa NATO. So, lalong lalakas ng NATO ngayon kasi joint forces na sila. So, let's see what's gonna happen here. Actually, I had a chance to also talk to some people. Again, I cannot, because of confidentiality and Chatham House rules, I cannot say who exactly and what code. But I asked them also about whether na-surprise yung military experts dito pagdating sa performance ng Russia on the front line. So we had very interesting discussions. Gladly, I mean, in many ways, yung mga my own, ideas about the situation, my own ideas about how people are fighting for their own rights, my ideas about the stance of Eastern European countries and the Eastern Front, etc. Medyo na-confirm ko naman, so I'm glad. And I mean, and these are like based on conversations with really senior people, right, who know their stuff. So I was kind of glad to see that na hindi masyadong off the mark. Now, the other thing that was also fascinating, because of course kasama din namin dito mga French, mga Germans, some from the bigger European countries, more established countries. So I think the other thing that is happening here also right now is, first of all, yung mga Eastern European countries na medyo bago sa European Union, bago sa NATO, no? They're getting more voice, more influence. This area is nice, medyo more traditional or classic. Hindi na yung mga boring na ano. Yeah, so one of the things that we notice is the Eastern European countries here are finally getting more voice, more representation, or at least that's the sense that some people have. Within NATO, within Europe, because usually sila yung medyo marginalized eh. Again, I cannot say who exactly said that, but like some were concerned that, usually like those from Belgium, Luxembourg, etc. tend to get a lot of representation in within the EU institutions, and now at least it looks like the Eastern Front have more voice there. The other thing was interesting is that there were also people, experts, diplomats from Southern Europe, na hindi naman directly affected dito sa crisis sa Ukraine. But you see, this is very interesting. Yung presyo ng natural gas na ginagamit ng maraming Europeans dito ay actually parang minsan na-triple, no, yung house consumption nila. And yet people are willing to take that hit, including in far away parts of Europe, like Southern Europe, Western Europe. Napakalayo dito sa Ukraine. And Ukraine is not even a member of NATO or the European Union. But they're doing that out of solidarity and also to send a clear message that Europe, at least for now, is willing to take the hit. So I think that was quite interesting. I mean, ang layo ng level ng discussion dito, dun sa level ng discussion sa atin. Ang discussion sa atin is that, saan tayo tataya? Mahina ng Amerika, doon na tayo sa China, ganyan. I mean, ay nako. Or, wala tayong magagawa dyan, ganyan. One of the things that really fascinated me is like Estonia is a really small country, like really, really small country. Few thousand lang yung mga troops nila, although they all look like these Vikings and all that. But they made it very clear they will fight to the last man, right? And that will be their national defense strategy. I mean, that's very important to them, no? And para sa kanila, if you stand your ground, right? If you stand your ground, then the bullies will think twice. But if you show weakness, you waver, and then your allies and friends are also wavering, then bad things happen. So, kaya ngayon, nakikita natin yung toughness ng mga Baltic countries, etc. Let's see if it's paying off. But so far, I mean, I don't know. I mean, the other thing that also we had a discussion over, again, I cannot attribute it to anyone for Chatham House rules kasi yan. The other point that keeps on coming up in discussions also here, at least, is that wala na pala yun. I have to go to the other side, no? Kamusta na kayo dyan? Ayan, ang dami natin mga kaibigan dyan. Yan. Yeah, tuloy. I was actually about to get some nap. Sabi ko, medyo pagod na pagod tayo. Siguro nakatulog na yung mga nandun sa Pilipinas. Pero sabi natin, mag-meta tayo kahit paano. And try to think through this stuff before I move to the next idea or something like that. Wait lang, balik lang tayo dito. Ang relax talaga dito, no? Walang traffic, walang trolls. Walang traffic, walang trolls. Ayan na naman tayo. Ay, parang wala yata masyadong alaskador dito eh. Walang traffic, walang trolls. Hindi ako sanay eh. Mabait dito. Tsaka the other thing I noticed very interestingly this Baltic area, especially Estonia, Latvia, etc. more similar sila sa Denmark, Finland, yung mga ganyan, kaysa sa mga Slavic countries, right? Like Ukraine, for instance, or Russia, etc. And one of the things you keep on hearing here is that, oh, we're a Hanseatic country, meaning more influence dun sa Nordic Protestant than the more Slavic, Orthodox, etc. background. So, yeah, much more Western-oriented dito than I thought. And quite progressive. Actually, yung situation dito economically also is not as good. Inflation po nila ngayon is I think 22, 23, 24%. But they're preparing for the winter, for the economic crisis potentially in the winter, for natural gas problems with Russia, etc., for energy crisis. But I don't know, they seem resilient, they seem committed to what they're doing. It's a very small country. And isipin mo, tayo sa Pilipinas, 100 million plus na tayo. Tapos, to-tolerate tayo ng mga tao na nagsabi, wala tayong mga gawa dyan. Doon na lang tayo tataya sa bagong bully. I mean, what the heck, di ba? Ayan na naman tayo. But yes, ayan na. Kumusta na kayo dyan? Sorry ako, medyo sabog ako. I mean, 4 a.m. pa ako gising na nag-work. I just had a few hours of sleep last night. Last night din, ang tagal ng discussions namin. Because we also have friends from all around the world here joining us. It's a program we have with the Munich Security Conference. So it's organized with the Germans, but we have expert friends from France, from Germany, from South Africa, from India, Bangladesh, etc. Pero ako yata ulit ng only Southeast Asian ASEAN here. So ayusin ko. Kaya inaayos ko sarili ko. Ayan. Kamusta yung mga friends natin dyan from across the Baltic in Finland? Nice. Very nice. Nice to talk to you guys. Yeah, interesting. Let's see also what happens. Kasi sasali ng Finland at saka Sweden sa NATO. So, ang lakas na ng NATO ngayon. I mean, interestingly, people underestimate Europe. Sometimes Europe underestimates itself. But, you know, Europe got 300,000 troops and they're high-tech. They're well-prepared. They're well-fed. Kanina, kumain kami dun sa military camp, sa canteen nila. Ang sarap ng food nila, grabe. Sarap talaga ng food nila. Yung salmon nila dito, man, the best. It's just something with the North Sea, Baltic Sea, you know. Sarap ng salmon nila. So, like, kaya siguro ang gaganda ng ang Vikings sila dito and all of that, di ba? Ayun, natitignan na ako ng mga tao dito. Ayan, lumalaya naman tayo. Kainis kasi dito. Walang nagmamaso. Pag nagmamaso ako, lumalapit ako. Ang weird ng tingin nila sa akin. Ayan tayo. Church. Ayan. Ang ganda ng weather. Parang sayang na tulog pa tayo dito. Anyway, we'll have more discussions, guys. Ano na? Kamusta na sa Pilipinas? Anong ano natin dyan? Anong kuda? Anong hanash natin? Ayan, na-miss na daw tayo. Sabi niya, no? Naomi. Ayan. Noyemi. Sorry, I keep on saying Naomi. Noyemi Tablado, thank you very much. Ayan, na-miss ko rin kayo. Talagang kanina, sorry, nasa medyo security zone tayo, military zone tayo. Napaka-weird naman na vlogger tayo sa gitna ng military zone. Baka ma-arrest tayo dyan. Mahirap yan. Ayan. Mahirap na. Kaya sabi ko, pagbalik ko na lang. Ayan. At promise, Omega, talagang walang traffic, walang trolls. Hindi ako sanay. Parang alam mo yung, parang sanay ka na sa stress. Hindi naman to hugot. Alam mo yung parang sanay ka na sa relasyon na parati may problema, na nasa stress. Tapos kung mabait yung jowa mo, biglang bored ka na, hindi mo na alam gagawin mo sa sarili mo. Ayan, talagang, ay nako, walang traffic, walang trolls. Chill lang mga tao dito. Sarap pa ng food nila. Yan. Naman, wala naman nagpapanik. Totoo naman. Tough people ang mga nandito. My goodness. I love these people. I mean, Baltic people, Finns. Oh my God, they're tough, strong people. Napansin ko rin, marami rin mga Swedish technology dito. Swedish cars, Volvo, Swedish military equipment. Again, I cannot tell more because of security reasons, but I was able to also look at examines a lot of Swedish military equipment kanina. It's interesting. Maayos din pala yung mga ng Sweden. I mean, yeah, I kind of know about the Sweden's Swedish, mga fighter jets and cars, Saab, Volvo, etc. But it's good to see they're still around, and apparently they're quite reliable. At least that's what we see with folks here. Yun lang. Yan. I mean, ayan. Thanks kay Ma'am Jocelyn, very kind of you. Believe me, the word busy doesn't even capture. Hindi ko pa nga na-overcome yung jet lag ko. May 4 a.m. panel talk na ako kanina. Pero sige, sabi ko, kaya tayo. Siyempre, ang topic pa naman, Tatay, Junior, Boris, Donald, right? So, yun. Siyempre, na-miss natin, traffic and trolls. Ayan. Ayan. Yeah, wala naman nagpapanik. But yun nga, the good thing naman is they don't panic, but they're prepared. At hindi sila loser mindset. Yung, ay, wala tayong magagawa, malakas yan. Ay, mahina lang tayo. Ay, maliit lang tayo. Sila nga, totoo maliit na bansa, ayaw mag-give up. Tapos yung iba, 100 million na nga population, tingin sa sarili, small country. Hindi nga tayo small country, ano ba yan? Kaya yung mga leaders natin, sana naman yung mga leaders natin, di ba? Namit ko yung mga leaders nito, ang babata pa nila, mga 40s lang ganun, babae pa, tatapang pa nila talaga mga Spartan, Vikings, mga ganun, ibang klase. Ay, nako. Anyway, ayan, si Ma'am Jocelyn Suarez, nandito na rin. Yeah, Estonia is a small country, I'm impressed at the standard run. Okay. Yeah, it's beautiful, yeah. Yeah, ito. Now, actually, I'm not even in the most beautiful part. Kahapon, I was really in these historic parts. I'll post pictures later on. Pa-follow naman dyan sa Instagram. Ako kasi ganito, guys. Pag I'm in the state of mind na very serious and all, parang I don't feel comfortable posting parang glamour shot or posting IG or pa-cute gano'n. Parang hindi siya appropriate, you know? So at least now that medyo nagawa natin yung mga super serious meetings and all, I feel more comfortable posting and all. Masyadong Dolce Gabbana naman pag ganun eh. But yeah, it's even more beautiful than I thought. I'm very, 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 very impressed. And then the other thing I noticed here is actually, okay, I won't use the word mura, but it's way cheaper than Western European countries, right? Or even Southern European countries. Like, prices of hotels here, like 1/3. It's even cheaper than probably, well, definitely cheaper than Singapore, but probably even cheaper than Manila. No? At saka maayos mga hotels, mura lang dito relatively na. So, the cost of living don't seem to be as high. So, that's quite impressive. Ay, muntik tayo mga dyan. Ayan. Ayan. Sino mo nag-join sa atin dyan? Hindi yan nice mustache. Hindi lang ako nag-shave. Wala pang 2 days. Talaga matanda na ako. Wala pang 2 days. Bumalik na yung natin. Nag-clean shave nga tayo papunta dito eh. Ayan. Joining us from Tarlac, si Rodante Briones. Yeah. Tour guide. Siso. Ayan, si Joyce, alam niya talaga itong mga characters ng mga Baltic people eh. Grit and perseverance. Tapos, pero ito. Medyo seryoso yung mga tao dito, medyo. Kanina, like, pagdating namin dun sa isang hall na medyo may strategic briefing, ganun. Parang pinagalitan kami ng mag-asay. I have a meeting soon. If you're not gonna sit down, I'm gonna miss that meeting. Parang pinagalitan pa lang. Walang nga. Yeah, I mean, they're nice people, but they don't mess around, right? Hindi katulad sa Pilipinas, kahit ang pasaway ng kausap mo, sige lang, patience lang. Hindi, dito wala. I have a meeting in 10 minutes. I have to finish this. Okay, no problem. Let's go, yeah. Ay, nako. Yeah. Kinda has this feel like Munich, kinda like a small but nice, you know, dainty place. Yeah, nakahapon yung nice. Ang layo kasi, kung lalakaran ko pa yun. Kailangan ko pa magpahinga. But the weather is just so great. Wow, I mean, it's September, it's autumn already. Parang ganun ka. Siguro climate change na rin. So apparently, baka this is not a good thing, but I didn't expect getting this. Ayan, may nagjo-jogging na. Hey, how are you? Yeah, the owls. Yeah. Nagjo-jogging na yung mga kasama ko. Parang na-challenge ako dun Challenge din ako dun na ano ko dyan Sige na nga, ako na rin. Balik na ako sa room, I have to finish. Believe it or not, I have to finish also paper. Yung mga references and all, ayusin ko pa. Ay, nako. Ganyan talagang schedule ng mga zaddy. Zaddy times. Ayan, so dito na tayo. Ayan, astig, no? Yeah, I mean, look at it. There are like barely any people in this town. It's just like so few people. Ibang klase. No trolls, no traffic. Yan, ganyan talaga. Ayan. Uy, thank you dun sa mga nag-appreciate naman yung ano natin, ha. Yung nagwala ako dun sa Istanbul nung talk natin. Oh, sana naman guys, na-appreciate yung ginagawa natin. Honestly, you know what I do? Like, when I talk to other experts, I always tell them, we should not be satisfied with only making good papers and good production for us. I mean, hindi ako nangyayabang, diba? But I mean, I kinda, you know, just get invited by all of this, diba? I mean, alam niya na, okay? Huwag na tayo magyabang. But my point is, okay, it's great. You go to top university, you meet top officials, etc. But at the end of the day, you have to make sure the message also gets out. At the end of the day, you want to also elevate the level of discussion in the country, right? So yun lang. So I was just having some very long conversation last night with some of the friends here. And I could see na medyo uncomfortable yung iba. Yung parang idea nila, mag-vlogger kami or YouTuber, or idea like, that's not my job. I'm here to do proper analysis, advise policymakers, experts, ganun. But my point is like, sayang. Kasi if we don't do that, then people who are not really experts, or people who have ulterior motives, or people who want to spread disinformation, or people are just there to make the money and come up with junk food, are gonna fill in the gaps, no? And ako naman, I'm not expert on everything. I'm not obviously expert on Baltic, on NATO. I'm not. I'm nowhere close to expert. But I know about things. I studied them in school. I teach a little bit about them here and there. So I try to learn about these things. And I meet the people who are really experts. I talk to them. I talk to the officials. You know, we ask questions. We meet prime ministers, presidents, etc. So siguro, that gives you sufficient capacity or competence to at least have an informed discussion on things. And yeah, like this, diba? I mean, I could have easily just gone in the room, spend 20 minutes, 30 minutes, take a nap, then I don't know, walk around, blah, 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 and that's it, and then not share anything. But I said, you know what? Let's not waste it. And being an Ilocano, of course, I want to make always the most out of my time. If I have a 30 minutes opening here, let's do that. Let's talk to people. Let's get the message out. Let's have some interesting conversation. Yung isa pang ayaw ko dito sa yung ugali natin usually, ang pinag-usapan lang natin mga malalaking bansa. O ganito sa States, or ganito sa China, or ganito sa, I don't know. Pero, you know what, sometimes I realize you can learn a lot from really small countries, including here. This is Estonia, really small country. No trolls, no traffic, but really gritty people, really disciplined people, palaban. Tuloy, ang ganda ng bansa nila eh. I mean, ibang klase. Tapang-tapang pa nila, prepared nila. You know, I like that. I like learning from humble-sized countries sometimes. I like learning about other places aside from the big ones and all of that. I think all of that is very, very important. No? So, yan, sa mga discussions na ganun, I think, na-appreciate natin. Now, I know, gabi na yata sa inyo sa Pilipinas. Anong oras na ba? 10 p.m. na ba dyan? Yeah, I think it's almost 10 p.m. Ay, hindi. 9:30 na pala. So, I hope you guys are gonna have a good weekend. Enjoy nyo naman yan. Yan. Yeah, for me, ganun lang. No, hindi ako sa Poland, sa Estonia. Although medyo malapit. Poland is a little bit down the road. Yeah, but we have friends from Poland. We have friends from Eastern Bloc. I was also having conversation with friends, you know, who have folks involved in Hungarian politics. So we talk about Viktor Orban. We talk about also the populist here, or pro-Russian figures, pro-Putin people here in Europe. Believe it or not, there are many. Marami rin na Russian-speaking dito, including dito sa Estonia. I think they're like 27% of the population are from Russian backgrounds, you know. So one of the things we also talk about is how to fight disinformation, for instance, right? And without compromising freedom of expression, freedom of assembly, basic rights, etc. So yung mga ganitong bagay. Anyway, I think it's getting cold na. I'm just not showing it, actually. Lumalamig na pala. Baguio boy kasi kaya ang kapal mox. Yan. Mga free tour tayo dito. Nice. Ayan. Okay. Thank you, John, guys. Let me just thank again so much mga sumali sa atin. Ma'am Josephine, thank you so much for comments and support. Brillantes, Ma'am Jocelyn, as always, very supportive and kind of you. Maria Esmeralda, yan, salamat din sa inyo for joining us tonight. Kay Nal, kay Vilma Alberto, salamat. Kay Avon Carias, so thank you. Kay Susan Dizon, kay Margaret Rose Rodriguez, thank you so much, guys, for joining us. I really, really appreciate it. May mga friends tayo joining us from Oman. Wassalamu alaikum. Actually, marami din kaming friends dito from the Middle East kanina. So, we were having a lot of discussions with friends from Syria. We actually have also friends here who are Russians, but they got out of Russia because they're quite critical of the situation. So, they're actually now based here. Very brilliant guys. One of those guys that actually got to meet last night and kanina kasama ko was one of the guys whose articles convinced me that the invasion is gonna happen. Kaya kung binasa niyo yung Philippine Daily Inquirer column ko just days before the invasion happened, I essentially said that it's gonna happen. So, interestingly, I was talking to some German friends here and all, and they remember. They said, yeah, ikaw, yes, you were convinced that it's gonna happen, that it's reaching that point, while sila medyo more dismissive. So, suddenly they were asking me about Taiwan, about China, etc. So, yun, I mean, I don't know, I just had a sense the invasion is gonna happen. I mean, I kind of know how people like Putin, operate. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, we were reaching that point. Kaya talagang there's no room for complacency. And always you have to be prepared, you have to be strong, you have to stand your ground. Otherwise, you'll always be in trouble. You'll always be in trouble. So it's very, very important we get certain things in order, no? Yeah, mga friends din tayo dyan. Bonjour from Canada. From Canada. Although napansin ko dito, probably because marami akong Germans na kasama, parating pinagtatawanan yung mga French leaders like si Macron. Kasi naman si Macron ume-epal-epal na naman minsan si Macron, nakakainis. Ume-epal siya, si Macron boy. Kung ano nung sinasabi ni Macron? I think Macron was kinda implying na dapat wag warmongering, tapos convinced pa yung France na invasion will not happen. Tapos nakipag-meeting pa si Macron with Putin noon. Sabi niya, ayos na lahat. Yan, may epal-epal daw siya ng konti. I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm just relaying what I'm getting from other countries in this region. Marami na-irita. Like, every time we mention Macron of France, like, nag-eye roll yung iba dyan. Okay, I'm not gonna say who, but I'm just saying, well, Macron doesn't have many fans in Europe. Alright, and let's see how are things gonna go there. But yeah, thank you so much, Guy Joyce, also for sharing your views about people in this part of the world. As I said, this is my first time in this Baltic area, so it's not necessarily a place I'm too familiar with, but I feel very privileged and glad to have had the opportunity of meeting people on the front line. Literally, we went to the military barracks close to the border. Novgorod will be just across the border, and then in Russia, obviously I'm referring to Novgorod in Russia, and then the chance to meet and talk to the Prime Minister of this country, very young woman, very smart, very strong woman, meeting a former president, members of parliament, experts. So I'm very happy. Yeah. I know Virgie or Montreal or Quebec, Canada, but I'm just saying, still they're French speaking, so I had to talk about France, right? No, actually, we talk about Canada. Interestingly, it looks like Canada also has a good presence here. Dito sa front line, I think Latvia, they have troop presence here as part of NATO. Kasi NATO ang Canada, di ba? So tumutulong din ang Canada dito sa reinforcement ng eastern frontier ng Europe and NATO with Russia. So many interesting things happening. All right, guys. Now I will obviously have to write this down for my columns and articles. We'll discuss this more. Again, as I said, because this conversation were made under Chatham House rules, I cannot make direct attributions or quotations, etc. Medyo sensitive kasing discussions, but I feel even more confident about my take on the situation here in NATO, etc. Right? And I was glad also to raise some points from, let's call it, Asian point of view. And I'm very grateful na inimbita rin tayo. Tayo lang naman taga East Asia nandun, so I try to make sure the message also gets through on some issues that are very dear to us Filipinos and people in Asia who are worried about the situation. Ayan, si Luz Meyer, pinag-usapan niya. 1991 pa siya sa Baltic. Okay, well, I mean, a lot has changed, I'm sure. I mean, those were parang end of Cold War pa lang 1991, di ba? So much has changed, I mean, can you imagine, these countries used to be under the communist bloc. They used to be part of the Soviet Union, right? And yet now they're like super progressive, no trolls, no traffic, beautiful people. Yun lang, medyo masungit sila minsan pag late ka or pasaway ka. Yun lang. Hindi sila kasing pasensyoso natin sa Asia eh. Alright guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'll try to get a bit rest, try to finish some work, and then yeah, I'll have to be on the move again. So, ganun talaga tayo. Marco Polo style. Baby boy. Yan. Alright, thank you so much. Have a good day, guys. Salamat, maraming salamat. God bless. Have a good weekend and talk to you guys on Monday, God willing. Alright, thank you so much again sa mga nagbigay ng stars, na nagbigay ng support sa comments. I know it's a bit late dyan sa Pilipinas, pero I tried my best, guys, to catch up. Ayan talaga tayo, si Ruben, sabi niya, I look like an older Giral. Ano ka ba? Pangit lang yung camera natin, ako pa yung tumanda. Walang iya talaga kayo. Wala akong kamukha ko sarili ko. Ayan, sige. Bye guys, ingat, have a good day. Yeah, hindi ko magamit yung isa pang phone ko. Ito yung pangit ng phone, so mas fuego tayo. Sa totoo lang. Yeah, naimbag na bigat. Dyan sa Pilipinas. Dito araw pa eh. Alright, God bless. Thank you very much. Talk to you soon.